Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to explore some of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. The top 10 1-cent wheat pennies from the United States of America. United States. We'll look at their market value, fascinating minting errors, and the special conditions that make certain wheat pennies extremely rare. Some even feature unique copper shades, toning variations, and striking errors that have turned them into true treasures in the coin collector and investor world. These wheat pennies are not just pieces of history, but also valuable collectibles that continue to grow in demand among coin enthusiasts. So if you're a coin lover, a collector, or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, this video is for you. Money bag, let's get started with our first rare and valuable wheat penny. The 1953 D. Lincoln wheat penny is one of those coins that, at first glance, might seem ordinary, a simple copper cent, small and unassuming, minted in Denver during the post-war years. Yet for those who understand the world of numismatics, this coin is far from ordinary. It is a gleaming echo of American resilience, an artifact of a time when the nation was rebuilding its identity, and a piece that today holds the power to alter fortunes. The 1953 D. Penny, born in the heart of the Rocky Mountains, carries within its reddish glow a story that transcends metal. It carries history, hope, and the whisper of unimaginable value. To understand the power of this coin, we must travel back to the early 1950s, when the United States was basking in the glow of post-World War II prosperity. Factories hummed, cities grew, and coins were struck in record numbers to fuel the booming economy. Among these, the humble 1-cent piece continued to feature the noble visage of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate his 100th birthday. The wheat penny, with its 2 wheat stalks curling along the reverse side, symbolized both Lincoln's agricultural roots and the nation's abundance. Yet, in 1953, under the Denver Mint's presses, something special happened. A generation of coins emerged that would one day become objects of mystery, beauty, and desire. The Denver Mint, identified by its proud D mint mark below the date, was known for its precision and strength in coin production. Over 700 million pennies were struck there that year. But not all coins are created equal. A small fraction of these 1953 D pennies were minted with remarkable quality, struck on planchets of exceptional copper purity, displaying a deep red luster that gleamed like liquid fire. Some even possessed microscopic minting quirks, tiny die cracks, double dates, or off-center impressions that made them unique among millions. To the untrained eye, these flaws seemed insignificant, but to collectors, they became the fingerprints of fortune. What gives a 1953 D wheat penny its modern mystique is not just its age, but its material and preservation. Crafted from a 95% copper alloy with a hint of tin and zinc, the coin possesses an earthy warmth that no modern coin can replicate. Over decades, copper tones evolve. Some deepen to a rich mahogany brown, others retain a bright, fiery red. Coins that remain uncirculated, still shimmering as they did when first struck, are exceedingly rare and highly sought after today. A perfectly preserved 1953 D penny, blazing with its original red luster, can be worth thousands and in exceptional cases tens of thousands of dollars. But for some, the allure goes deeper. There are whispers among collectors of special 1953 D pennies struck from leftover wartime copper stock, planchets purer than typical mint material. These coins, rarer than gold, seem to radiate a silvery copper brilliance under light, a quality that sets them apart even among other wheat pennies. If authenticated, such a coin can command breathtaking sums on the private market, as its composition represents an anomaly, a beautiful mistake in the meticulous world of minting. The design of the wheat penny itself has long captured hearts. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait appears noble and contemplative, his gaze turned toward a future he helped shape. Above his head arches the word liberty, while the phrase, "In God we trust," stands proudly, a declaration of the nation's moral compass during a time of Cold War uncertainty. The reverse, with its 2 stylized wheat ears flanking 1 cent, and United States of America, speaks to the country's agricultural roots and enduring strength. In that simplicity lies profound symbolism, unity, labor, and nourishment, the essence of America in metal form. Throughout the mid-20th century, Many 1953. The pennies circulated freely, passed from hand to hand in diners, factories, and schools. Most wore down, their details fading with time. But a few were tucked away, perhaps in a collector's envelope, a soldier's memory box, or a child's piggy bank. These hidden survivors, untouched by the world, would decades later emerge as gleaming time capsules of mid-century America. To hold one today is to touch the pulse of history, to feel the warmth of copper that has endured through generations. The Wheat Penny series officially ended in 1958, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. That transition marked the end of an era. Thus, the 1953 D-coin occupies a special space near the end of Wheat design's golden age. Collectors see it as a bridge, a connection between the humble beginnings of American coinage and the sleek, modern minting that followed. Its copper body, so simple and pure, reminds us of a time when even a single cent carried weight, both literally and symbolically. As the decades passed, the legend of the 1953 D penny grew. Stories began circulating of rare specimens discovered in estate sales, junk drawers, and old rolls, coins that appraisers would later identify as mint-state gems worth small fortunes. Some are found with brilliant red surfaces preserved under layers of dust, others with minting errors that turn imperfections into priceless art. In the world of numismatics, a coin's value lies not only in its rarity but in its story, and every 1953, D penny has a story to tell. Collectors today prize this coin not just for what it's worth, but for what it represents. It is a testament to craftsmanship, a symbol of the American worker, and a reminder that even the smallest things can carry monumental value. The copper in its core connects it to the earth, to the mines and mills that help build the country. Its image of Lincoln connects it to ideals of unity and justice. Together, they make this coin an embodiment of America itself, strong, enduring, and filled with promise. So when one speaks of the 1953 D Wheat Penny, they are not merely talking about a coin, they are speaking of an artifact of destiny. In a world overflowing with metal and machinery, this single cent has the power to astonish, to enrich, and to transform. Somewhere, perhaps in forgotten box or jar, a flawless example lies waiting. Its copper face untouched, its mint mark proud, its value unimaginable. For the one who finds it and understands its worth, that tiny penny may well hold the power to change their fortune overnight. In the end, the 1953 D Wheat Penny stands as a symbol of how greatness can hide in plain sight. It reminds us that history often disguises its treasures in the ordinary, and that even the smallest coin, when kissed by time and touched by rarity, can become a key to unimaginable wealth. To possess one is to hold a piece of America's beating heart, an artifact forged in copper, sealed by time, and destined to shine forever. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of endurance, history, and mystery, forged in one of the most turbulent and transformative years in American history. At first glance, this humble copper set might seem like an ordinary relic of pocket change, yet hidden beneath its reddish-brown surface lies a story of war, transition, and astonishing value. The 1944 no-mint mark Wheat Penny, struck in Philadelphia, holds a place among the most talked about and collected coins in the United States. Its legacy stretches beyond mere metal. It embodies the pulse of a nation at war, the pride of American minting, and the thrilling possibility of fortune for those lucky enough to hold one today. To understand the magic behind the 1944 penny, we must return to the world as it was in that fateful year. World War II was raging across the globe, and every ounce of metal mattered. The U.S. Mint had shifted its priorities from producing everyday coinage to supporting the war effort. In 1943, in a move of patriotic necessity, the Mint produced pennies made of steel coated in zinc instead of copper, because copper was desperately needed for ammunition and weapon production. These steel cents became an instant wartime icon, though their silvery shine often confused people who mistook them for dimes. By 1944, however, the war's tide returning, and the Mint returned to striking pennies from copper once again, using reclaimed material from spent shell casings collected from military training grounds. That is what makes the 1944 Wheat Penny so historically charged. Quite literally, the copper in these coins once served in battle, Every 1944 penny carries within it the remnants of war, melted and reborn into currency that fueled America's march toward victory. The mint in Philadelphia, which struck the no-mint mark version, produced over 1 billion of these coins, yet among them, a few emerged unlike any other. Some were made from leftover steel planchets from the previous year, accents of transition that would one day become worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Others were struck with exceptional clarity and copper brilliance, preserved against time's decay, gleaming as brightly today as the day they left the mint. The design of the wheat penny remained timeless. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile reflects wisdom, sacrifice, and the moral strength that guided the nation through its darkest days. The simple word liberty stands beside him, and above his head reads the eternal motto, "In God we trust." On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks arch gracefully around the words 1 cent and United States of America, symbolizing the nation's agricultural foundation and its unity. This design, created by Victor David Brenner in 1909, had already become beloved by Americans, but in the wartime context of 1944, it took on new meaning. It reminded citizens that from the fields of home to the battlefields abroad, the American spirit endured. While millions of these pennies circulated freely in grocery stores, gas stations, and post-war paychecks, a small fraction remained untouched, preserved by collectors or by sheer accident. These pristine survivors, graded as mint state coins, shine with a fiery copper-red luster that sets them apart from their worn counterparts. Over time, as collectors began to recognize their significance, the 1944 no-mint mark penny became one of the most sought-after pieces in American numismatics. Its value today depends heavily on condition. A circulated coin might fetch a few dollars, but a flawless, uncirculated example can command thousands. Then there are the legendary era varieties, coins that have captured the imagination of collectors for generations. Among these, the rare 1944 penny struck on a steel planchet is the crown jewel. Only a handful are known to exist, accidental creations born when leftover steel blanks from 1943 were struck with the 1944 copper dies. These mistakes are now priceless treasures, each worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, depending on their condition. Imagine the thrill of holding what appears to be an ordinary penny, only to discover that it's a lost relic of history capable of transforming your life overnight. But even without such rare errors, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny remains iconic. It represents a pivotal moment in American history, the return to peace, the victory of industry, and the rebirth of normalcy after years of war. Every coin minted that year tells a story. The story of a country rebuilding, of families reunited, of factories shifting from weapons back to tools of growth. To own a 1944 penny is to own a fragment of that story, a whisper from the past preserved in copper and time. What makes this coin so alluring today is not just its beauty or its history, but its enduring symbolism. Copper, a metal that conducts warmth and energy, mirrors the American spirit itself. Resilient, adaptable, and everlasting. The 1944 penny, with its rich reddish hue, seems almost alive when held in the light, glow with the energy of all it has witnessed. For collectors, it's not merely about monetary value. It's about connection, the feeling of touching something that has journeyed through decades, through war and peace, through countless hands, to arrive in yours. And yet, the true fortune of the 1944 penny lies in the unexpected. Somewhere in an old jar or forgotten drawer, a flawless or rare variety may still sit undiscovered, waiting for the right person to recognize its worth. History has shown time and again that these discoveries do happen. Ordinary people stumble upon life-changing finds in change jars, estate sales, or inherited collections. Each new discovery reignites the legend of this coin and fuels a dream that even the smallest piece of copper might hold unimaginable fortune. In today's coin market, the 1944 no-mint mark wheat penny stands as a pillar of collecting, coveted, studied, and admired. Its connection to America's greatest generation gives it soul, while its rarity and variations give it power. It serves as a bridge between the past and the present, a reminder that true value is often hidden in plain sight. For those who own one in pristine condition, it's not just a coin. It's a relic of destiny, an artifact capable of rewriting one's story overnight. So, if you ever come across a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, look closely. Study its color, its shine, its feel. For in your hand may rest one of the most extraordinary coins in American history, a piece that carries the heart of a nation, the courage of a generation, and perhaps the power to change your fortune forever. Beneath its simple copper glow lies a legacy so immense that even time cannot diminish it. It is a reminder that sometimes the smallest coin can hold the greatest story and the richest reward. Next up, the 1956 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those coins that hides extraordinary power behind an unassuming face. Small, coppery, and seemingly ordinary, this 1-cent piece carries a legacy that stretches far beyond its tiny frame. It belongs to one of the most beloved and enduring coin series in American history, the Lincoln Wheat Penny. Minted during the closing years of the wheatback design, the 1956 D penny represents the final heartbeat of an era that had begun all the way back in 1909. To hold this coin is to hold a bridge between 2 centuries of American progress. And for collectors, it's a token of beauty, rarity, and astonishing potential value. The story of this coin begins in Denver, Colorado, home to the U.S. Mint's Western Branch, where the D mint mark proudly sits below the date. The year was 1956, a time when America stood at the threshold of change. The nation was booming with post-war prosperity, and the young generation was defining new dreams. But even as the world looked forward, the 1956 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny reminded Americans of their roots. Struck from a brilliant blend of copper, zinc, and tin, this coin was more than just money. It was a piece of art, a symbol of unity, and a tribute to the enduring leadership of Abraham Lincoln. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, had already been in circulation for nearly half a century by 1956. On the obverse, the noble face of Lincoln gazes forward, etched with a quiet strength that echoes through time. The words, "In God we trust," hover above him like a promise, while liberty rests at his side, a word that Lincoln himself fought to redefine for all Americans. On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks bend inward to frame the denomination 1 cent and the declaration United States of America. It's simple, honest, and deeply patriotic. Those wheat ears were meant to symbolize the country's agricultural foundation, a reminder that even in times of industrial growth, America's strength was rooted in hard work and harvest. The 1956 D. Wheat Penny was minted in abundance. Over 1 billion were struck that year. But here's where the story takes an intriguing turn. Though most of these coins were meant for everyday use, only a fraction survived in pristine condition. The Denver Mint was known for its heavy production pace, which often led to small minting imperfections. Double dies, repunch mint marks, and misaligned strikes. All of these unintentional errors now create varieties that collectors crave. A single 1956 D penny with a perfectly preserved surface, glowing red luster, and no blemishes can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars in today's numismatic market. Add a rare error or an exceptional grade, and its value could soar into life-changing territory. What makes this coin especially captivating is its connection to the end of an era. The wheat penny design was soon to be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959, marking 50 years of Lincoln's legacy. The 1956 D therefore became one of the final pure expressions of the classic wheat penny, an emblem of American history before the design shifted toward modern symbolism. Collectors often view it as a farewell coin, a last whisper from a bygone age when even a single cent carried artistry and craftsmanship. The copper in this coin also holds a story of its own. By 1956, copper was more than a metal. It was the lifeblood of America's growing economy. Used in everything from electrical wiring to military supplies, copper represented progress and industry. To strike pennies from this metal was a quiet statement of abundance and strength. The 1956 D. Wheat Penny, glowing with that deep reddish tone of pure copper, captures the optimism of mid-century America. It was a time when the average citizen could still find beauty and pride in even the smallest coin. In the world of coin collecting, the 1956 D has become a beloved treasure for both beginners and experts alike. Its charm lies not only in its affordability, but also in its potential. Many collectors start their Lincoln Wheat Penny journey with this coin because it's accessible, yet filled with historical depth. But occasionally, extraordinary examples appear. Coins struck with rare errors or preserved in nearly flawless condition. These are the ones that make headlines, the ones that transform ordinary collections into fortunes. There's also something poetic about how this coin has survived the decades. Think about it. How many hands has it passed through? How many pockets, lunch counters, or savings jars did it live in before someone realized its importance? Each 1956, the penny carries silent stories of ordinary Americans, the workers, farmers, and dreamers who built the nation's foundation cent by cent. To discover one today in uncirculated brilliance is to uncover a piece of time itself, frozen and gleaming with historical energy. The fascination surrounding the 1956 Wheat Penny also stems from its deeper symbolism. Lincoln's image on the obverse reminds us of integrity, resilience, and an enduring fight for freedom. The wheat stalks on the back whisper the sweat and labor that fed generations. Together, they form a coin that isn't merely a collector's item. It's a miniature monument to the American story. And for those who possess it, especially in its rarest forms, it can indeed change fortunes overnight. Today, the coin market's appreciation for the 1956 Wheat Penny continues to rise. Collectors worldwide are drawn to its historical context, aesthetic appeal, and the chance that their coin may be one of the rarest survivors. A perfectly struck, copper-bright example could easily fetch thousands in an auction. Meanwhile, the ultra-rare varieties, like double-die errors or coins struck on leftover planchets from other years, are considered near-mythical treasures, commanding jaw-dropping prices. To own a 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny is to hold a symbol of America's soul in your hand, a blend of artistry, endurance, and unexpected fortune. Its power lies not only in its copper sheen, but in its story. The story of a nation rising from hardship, celebrating its heroes, and leaving behind tokens of its journey in every pocket. It reminds us that even the smallest things, humble, overlooked, and ordinary, can carry unimaginable worth. So, if you ever find a 1956 Wheat Penny shining a little brighter than the rest, take a moment to look closer, because within that small circle of copper might lie not just a coin, but a fortune, a legacy, and the heartbeat of American history itself. Next up, the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those remarkable coins that whisper stories from a time when America stood on the edge of transformation. At first glance, it seems like any ordinary cent, small, simple, made of copper, but beneath that humble surface lies a tale of resilience, war, artistry, and the quiet endurance of American spirit. This coin was born in the heart of World War II, when the nation was bracing for sacrifice and unity. Every cent struck in that year carried not just economic value, but emotional weight, a symbol of perseverance at a time when the future of freedom hung in the balance. The year 1942 was one of tension and triumph for the United States. Factories thundered, men went to battlefields overseas, and women filled the workshops, keeping the nation running. The U.S. Mint continued producing the familiar Lincoln Wheat Penny, but even in those days, change was in the air. Copper was an essential metal for ammunition and weapons, and as the war effort grew, every ounce of metal counted. The 1942 penny, struck primarily in copper, was one of the last of its kind before America began experimenting with alternative materials like steel in 1943. That makes this coin historically significant. It was a final full copper penny of wartime America, a relic from just before the world of coinage was turned upside down. The coin's design, though simple, carries timeless elegance. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile is carved in dignity. The 16th president, whose leadership preserved the Union, now immortalized on the smallest denomination of its currency. Around him, the inscriptions read like a national oath: "In God we trust, liberty," and the date 1942. On the reverse, two wheat stalks curve gracefully to form a frame around 1 cent and United States of America. Those wheat ears, representing hard work and harvest, stood as a tribute to the American farmer, the backbone of the nation during war and peace alike. The Philadelphia Mint produced a no-mint mark version of this coin, which is the one most collectors cherish today. While tens of millions were struck, only a small number have survived in pristine condition. Over decades of circulation, most were worn smooth by countless hands: soldiers, factory workers, students, and everyday citizens using them to buy bread, stamps, and hope. But the few that were saved untouched by time gleam with fiery red luster, their copper surfaces glowing like captured sunlight. Those are the coins that collectors dream about, the ones that can turn a pocket find into a treasure worth thousands. But the 1942 wheat penny's real power lies not in its metal, but in its moment in history. This coin was minted in a world fighting for its soul. It was a coin that might have been in the pocket of a young soldier boarding a ship to Europe, or a nurse working in a crowded wartime hospital, or a child collecting stamps to support the troops. Each cent minted that year became a silent witness to sacrifice and courage. The copper that made it pure and enduring became a metaphor for the nation's own unbreakable spirit. Over time, collectors have discovered that certain 1942 wheat pennies hold astonishing secrets. Some were struck with minor errors, double die obverse, misaligned dies, or small variations that occurred during high-pressure minting. These flaws, once dismissed, now make the coins incredibly valuable. A flawless uncirculated 1942 penny with sharp definition, blazing red tone, and no blemishes can easily fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But if you happen to hold an error coin, a double two in the date, or a weak strike that adds uniqueness, its value could soar unimaginably high. The copper composition of the 1942 penny adds yet another layer of allure. Unlike the steel pennies that followed in 1943, this one retains that rich reddish tone, a color that collectors describe as alive. Over time, oxidation gives it a deeper brown hue, yet even then its beauty doesn't fade. It only matures. It's as if the coin itself ages gracefully, much like the ideals it represents. This copper isn't just metal. It's a bridge to the past, to the grit and determination that built America in its hardest years. In the numismatic world, the 1942 wheat penny stands as a symbol of transition. It marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. After 1942, coin production would change drastically. Materials would shift, minting would evolve, and designs would modernize. But through it all, Lincoln's image endured. This coin is, therefore, not merely a collectible, it's a monument in miniature. For many collectors, owning a 1942 penny is like owning a heartbeat from America's greatest test of unity and endurance. It's also worth remembering that coins like the 1942 penny remind us that value isn't always about rarity. Sometimes it's about story. Each piece carries echoes of an age where every resource was precious, every effort mattered, and even a single cent held meaning. That's why, for true collectors, this coin isn't just metal, it's memory. It's an artifact of courage, minted in a time when courage was America's greatest currency. And yet, as time passes, the monetary value of the 1942 no-mint mark wheat penny continues to climb. Exceptional specimens graded by professional services, shining like new despite being over 80 years old, are auctioned for astonishing sums. The market for wheat pennies has exploded, driven by nostalgia and the desire to own a piece of genuine history. For someone lucky enough to possess a rare error or an untouched gem, this small copper coin could indeed hold the power to transform fortunes overnight. The magic of the 1942 wheat penny is that it blends history, art, and destiny in one palm-sized symbol. It reminds us of a time when Americans saved, built, and believed in the future, 1 cent at a time. To hold one today is to touch the past, to feel the heartbeat of a nation that refused to surrender. And if that coin happens to be one of the precious few that escape times where, then you may very well be holding a fortune, not only in money, but in meaning. So, if you ever find that shining 1942 wheat penny with no mint mark, don't let it slip away. Its copper glow carries the fire of an era. Its design holds the soul of a nation, and its worth, both historical and financial, is beyond measure. In your hand, that single coin could be more than change. It could be the symbol of change itself, the power to turn a single cent into a story of triumph, legacy, and perhaps even destiny. Next up, the 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a small piece of copper. It is a living witness to America's golden post-war years, a time when hope, prosperity, and ambition filled every corner of the nation. This humble 1-cent coin carries with it the last whispers of an era that defined the American dream. To the untrained eye, it might seem ordinary, yet beneath its simple design and warm copper glow lies a story of art, endurance, and unexpected fortune. It's the kind of coin that, if you happen to hold one in perfect condition, could transform from pocket change into a treasure capable of rewriting your destiny overnight. Minted at the Denver Mint, the 1957 D Wheat Penny proudly carries a small D mark just beneath the date on its obverse side, a symbol of precision, craftsmanship, and American strength. This was one of the final years of the beloved Wheat Penny series, which had graced U.S. currency since 1909. When the last of these coins rolled out of the mint in 1958, an era ended, making the 1957 D one of the final chapters in a 50-year story of heritage and pride. To collectors, that ending only makes it more desirable, a bridge between the past and the modern Lincoln Memorial sense that would follow. The design itself is iconic. Abraham Lincoln, immortalized by sculptor Victor David Brenner, gazes solemnly forward, his profile representing wisdom and unity. Around him, the words "In God we trust" and "Liberty" stand proudly, as though carved from the very ideals that built the nation. On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks cradle the words 1 cent and United States of America. Those wheat ears symbolize hard work and harvest, a tribute to the backbone of America's economy, the everyday worker and farmer. This simple yet powerful imagery has made the wheat penny one of the most recognizable and beloved designs in American coinage history. When the 1957 D Wheat Penny was struck, the world was changing fast. The United States had emerged from war as a superpower. The suburbs were booming. Cars were gleaming on new highways, and television had become the new hearth of the home. Yet even in this age of progress, the penny remained an essential part of everyday life. Children collected them in piggy banks. Parents used them for groceries, and soldiers kept them as lucky charms. In those small copper discs lived the pulse of ordinary America, proof that even the smallest denomination carried meaning and memory. What makes the 1957 D penny especially fascinating is its composition. Struck from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, it holds a warmth and durability that only copper can provide. That metal, drawn from the earth and refined with care, gives the coin its timeless reddish hue, a glow that doesn't fade but deepens with age. Over time, this copper transforms, developing tones of bronze, chocolate, and crimson, creating a natural beauty that no modern coin can replicate. The fact that it was one of the last of its kind before the Lincoln design changed adds to its deep historical resonance. Though millions of 1957 D pennies were minted, few remain in pristine condition. Most were circulated, passed through countless hands, worn down by decades of use. Yet, among the millions, a small number were preserved by collectors, kept safe in original rolls, their surfaces untouched by time. These uncirculated examples gleam with fiery red luster, every detail sharp, every letter crisp. Such coins are rare jewels today, commanding high prices in the collector's market. A perfect 1957 D Wheat Penny, graded at the highest mint state, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And if you possess a unique error coin, the value can skyrocket into unimaginable territory. Error varieties of the 1957 D Wheat Penny are the stuff of legend among numismatists. A double die strike, an offset impression, or a repunch mint mark can transform a simple coin into a rare masterpiece worth a fortune. These errors happened during the minting process, often unnoticed at the time, but now they serve as hidden treasures for sharp-eyed collectors. It is these anomalies that give the 1957 D coin its reputation for mystery. The idea that within an ordinary penny may lie $1 billion secret waiting to be discovered. Beyond its market value, the 1957 D Wheat Penny carries deep emotional and historical significance. It reminds us of a time when every cent counted, when a penny could buy a piece of candy, a newspaper, or a phone call. It connects generations, from grandparents who saved them in jars to children who found them glittering in the grass. This coin doesn't just represent currency, it represents continuity, linking America's past to its future to the hands of millions of ordinary people. The Wheat Penny series itself holds a sacred place in the heart of American numismatics. Introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. Over its long life, the design witnessed world wars, economic collapse, and the birth of the atomic age. By the time the 1957 D came along, the coin had become a symbol of enduring strength and humility, small but mighty, much like the man whose face it bore. For collectors, owning a 1957 D Wheat Penny isn't just about money. It's about owning history. It's about holding something that has survived through decades of change, carrying silent stories of hope, work, and perseverance. Its copper gleam serves as a reminder that greatness doesn't always come in grand forms. Sometimes it hides in the smallest, simplest things. And so, the 1957 D Wheat Penny continues to enchant and inspire. Whether resting in an old coin album or shining in a high-grade holder, it stands as a relic of American resilience. Its true value lies not only in the metal or rarity, but in the story it tells. A story of how a nation, through its coins, recorded its soul. So if you ever come across a 1957 D Wheat Penny, don't dismiss it as just another cent. Take a closer look. Study the D mint mark. Feel the smooth weight of its copper body, and remember that you might be holding more than change. You could be holding a piece of history capable of changing your fortune forever. A coin born from faith, forged in progress, and destined to shine as one of America's most enduring treasures. Next up, the 1952 Wheat Penny, a small, copper coin bearing the solemn image of Abraham Lincoln, is one of those rare treasures that carries the quiet power of history in the palm of your hand. Minted in the heart of post-war America, this coin tells a story far deeper than its 1-cent face value suggests. It was a time when the United States stood tall as a nation of dreams, and every penny symbolized hard work, endurance, and the faith that greatness could grow from even the smallest of beginnings. The 1952 Wheat Penny, struck with no mint mark, meaning it was born at the Philadelphia Mint, embodies all that spirit and more, a piece of art, history, and hidden wealth. When this coin was produced, the world was recovering from global conflict and stepping boldly into an age of innovation. The 1950s were marked by optimism, booming industry, and the birth of modern America. Every penny that left the U.S. Mint carried with it the pulse of a growing nation, the heartbeat of millions who worked tirelessly to build a better life. The 1952 no-mint mark Wheat Penny reflects that era's determination and beauty, a testament to a time when coins were crafted with care, precision, and meaning. Its design, created by Victor David Brenner, is one of the most enduring and beloved in American history. The obverse features the noble profile of President Abraham Lincoln, his gaze firm and wise, a symbol of leadership, unity, and integrity. The words, "In God we trust," arch above his head, while liberty and the date 1952 rest beside him. On the reverse, 2 elegantly carved wheat ears curve around the words 1 cent in United States of America. Those wheat stalks are more than decoration. They represent prosperity, harvest, and the fruits of honest labor, values deeply cherished in the American heartland. What makes this coin so captivating is not just its design, but its composition. A mix of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that unmistakable warm reddish glow that no modern coin can replicate. Unlike today's pennies, which are mostly zinc-coated with a thin copper layer, the 1952 Wheat Penny was made to last. Each one feels solid, real, and grounded, like the America that forged it. Over the years, this pure copper beauty has aged gracefully, developing shades of deep brown and red, a natural patina that tells the story of time itself. Though millions of 1952 Wheat Pennies were minted, few survive in pristine, uncirculated condition. Many pass through generations of American hands, spent on candy, newspapers, or tucked into pockets during long days of work. Yet, among the countless circulated pieces, a few remained untouched, carefully saved by collectors or forgotten in old jars. Those coins, still blazing with their original red luster, now stand as shining relics of the past, each one worth far more than its humble face value. Collectors cherish the 1952 no-mint mark Wheat Penny, not only for its beauty, but for the unique stories hidden within the minting process. Occasionally, minting errors occurred, double die obverse, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies, and these rare mistakes turn ordinary coins into priceless treasures. A single error penny from 1952, depending on its condition and clarity, could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. It is this unpredictability, the chance that one small, unassuming coin might hold unimaginable value, that keeps collectors searching with unshakable passion. But beyond its monetary worth, the 1952 wheat penny symbolizes something greater, the soul of a hard-working America. These coins were carried by veterans, builders, and dreamers. They traveled through hands that built skyscrapers, cars, and dreams. Each penny was a quiet companion in the pockets of people who believed in possibility, that tomorrow could always be brighter than today. When you hold one now, you're not just holding metal, you're holding the heartbeat of a generation that believed in progress. The year 1952 itself was remarkable in history. It was the age of Eisenhower's leadership, the birth of rock and roll, and the dawn of the atomic era. The wheat penny minted that year became a silent witness to those transformative times, an everyday object that somehow survived extraordinary change. Each surviving 1952 penny tells its own silent story, linking you directly to that golden decade of American ambition. To the trained eye of a numismatist, the 1952 wheat penny holds elegance in its simplicity, the crispness of Lincoln's features, the depth of the wheat ears, and the evenness of strike all contribute to its value. A penny that still retains its original red shine, unblemished by wear, can command astonishing sums at auction. For collectors, these coins are more than money. They are history preserved in copper, a tangible reminder that beauty often hides in plain sight. Imagine, then, the power of discovering such a coin today. Among millions of forgotten cents, one perfect 1952 penny could elevate you into fortune. It's not mere fantasy. In numismatic history, rare examples have fetched incredible prices. The thrill of uncovering one, tucked away in an old collection or box, is the kind of moment that can change your life overnight. This penny is a symbol of how small things, seemingly ordinary, can hold a spark of destiny. The Wheat Penny series, which began in 1909 to honor Lincoln's 100th birthday, ended just a few years after 1952. That means every coin from these final years, especially those in perfect condition, carries special emotional and historical weight. They represent the closing of a magnificent chapter in U.S. coinage history. The 1952 no-mint mark wheat penny stands near the end of this era, making it a must-have for anyone who values legacy and beauty in their purest form. So if by chance you find a 1952 wheat penny resting in your collection or tucked away in an old drawer, don't underestimate its worth. You might be holding a piece of America's spirit, forged from the sweat and dreams of generations. A coin that, though born as a single cent, now holds the power to change your fortune. Treat it with respect, protect it from time, and remember, sometimes the smallest treasures carry the biggest stories. The 1952 wheat penny is not just copper. It's a coin that whispers of history, hope, and a hidden wealth that only those with vision can truly see. Thank you so much for watching this video.